If you're looking for a simple technique that can help you put some really big fish in the boat this summer, then you came to the right place. We're talking jig fishing. There it is. That feels like a pretty good one. If it's a bass. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh gosh! Big! So guys, a football head jig is one of my favorite baits. Old school, simple technique. It don't take much to learn. And it's one of the first techniques that I really picked up on good whenever I started bass fishing, probably, I guess it was 13 or 14 years ago. It's just something that I picked up and had a lot of confidence in. I caught a bunch of fish, and then as my knowledge continued to progress with it, I started catching bigger fish and started figuring out some stuff. So guys, I'll just go ahead and lead off with some of my biggest fish, including my personal best, a 9-pound, 2-ounce largemouth on Pickwick Lake, have came on this bad boy right here, this specific jig. And I've caught no telling how many bass in the 6 to 7 pound range. I've had 3 or 4 over 8 pounds on this guy, and I'm telling you what, it just catches big fish. But not only does it catch big fish, it can catch you a bunch of numbers, you know, those good keeper size bass. If you're in a tournament and you need to pick up a couple keepers, especially in the summertime, you know, this is going to be something that you need tied on and have ready to go on the deck of your boat. So guys, there's a bunch of jigs out there, you know, finesse jigs, swim jigs, structure jigs, but my number one go-to, especially in the summertime, is the football head jig, especially because I like to fish offshore, you know, deep water, anywhere from 10 to 30 feet, and really you can throw one jig for all of that. Now it might be more efficient to size up and go a little bit heavier, but we're going to talk about this jig specifically. But this jig specifically can do everything you want, from 5 foot to 30 feet of water. So guys, this is the 1/2 ounce football head jig made by Tightline Jigs. I've been fishing the Tightline jigs. You know, this is one of the first jigs I ever fished, and as soon as I saw how good it was, I didn't fish anything else. I tried some Strike King, you know, them bigger companies, more well-known jigs, and they were nowhere near as good as this local Tightline jig. The company's from my hometown. The owner was actually my high school fishing coach right when I started bass fishing. You know, he kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot. It's been very great to me over the years. And so, you know, I'm going to support him no matter what. But to make it even better, he really and truly does make the best football head jig on the market. You know, they've got the Guntersville Special. If you fish Guntersville, I know you've heard of the Guntersville Special. It's an absolute fish catching machine. But anyways, this is a 1/2 ounce head, Mama Brim color. It's very similar to the Guntersville Special, except it's got this pink strand in it, and I really like that little bit. It's been proven to me to catch more on this just with those little pink strands on most days than opposed to the Guntersville Special, but Guntersville Special is still good. But anyways, most of the crawfish down here in the south, especially you know, spring and early summer, are going to be that more olivey blue, green pumpkin looking. So this is going to be my go-to color for this time of year. And then I've got the Exxon Lures Okeechobee crawl, muscleback crawl. It's a 4-inch crawl on there. 90% of the time, that's what I'm gonna be throwing. Now, I will say, whenever it gets into late summer, early fall, you know, late July, August, on into September, the crawfish really start turning that brown, you know, orangish, reddish, brownish color. And so this is another one from Tightline Jigs that I like to throw whenever I see those craws changing. And this is just a brown and purple, and it really replicates that crawfish color whenever they start changing to that brownish reddish orange. And he makes a really good finesse jig too, and that's going to be something that I like to throw in the spring, you know, fall, winter, whenever the water temp starts cooling off. That's it right there, you know, like a little 1/4 ounce to 3/8 ounce. But this time of year, you know, we're going to focus on that big 1/2 ounce jig. And if you get anywhere, you know, deeper than that 25 to 30 feet depth range, I'd go ahead and bump up to the 3/4 ounce, but about 95% of the time it's going to be 1/2 ounce for me. So guys, before I get out on the water and show you how I like to fish this, I want to show you a little secret that I like to do with my trailers that really helps me catch more fish. So we take the Exxon Muscleback crawl. First, I'm going to use the Spike It Garlic Chartreuse marker, and I'm just going to color up those tails. And it don't take much, and really you're just wanting to color up a little bit of the tips of those crawls, and you really can't tell it much right here out of the water, but whenever that bait hits the water, you can really see that chartreuse good. And what it does is it replicates a smaller brim. So most of your smaller brim are going to have a chartreuse tail, and you know, it just really helps them to bite. And plus that garlic smell, I'm a firm believer in it. I think it catches a lot more fish, but we're not done yet. And then I take the thump gel and I'm just gonna rub a little bit on the skirts and then on down towards the tails, you know, the body into the tails of the trailer. And there you have it, guys. It's a great little two-step tip for scent that is gonna help you catch more fish on the jig. So guys, there's really two main ways that I like to fish a jig. And you know, first of all, I'm gonna be out here on some structure, you know, whether it's a point or a ledge or a hump or something. Might even be like a shallow point or something on the bank, you know, but whatever the case may be, there's really two retrieves that I like. Now, if I'm like deep offshore, I'm gonna wanna sit on, you know, if it's an underwater point, I'm gonna wanna sit on the deep side and throw across the shallow to the other deep side. And so we'll do that. Now, if it's a real deep point, I'm wanting to maintain that bottom contact. All I'm gonna do is just reel up the slack. It's really important to keep the slack out. That way you can feel the bite. And I'm just gonna drag that jig. Kind of just like a sweeping motion with your rod tip. And you know, you'll feel some rocks or whatever. And a lot of times you can either just keep dragging, or sometimes what I like to do, this is what I kind of picture it. Like the jig is like, here's a rock and here's the jig swimming. It's kind of like getting hung up right there. And so if you take your rod tip and kind of shake it, it's gonna make that jig like flutter up like that. And so that's what I'm gonna do. And a lot of times that triggers bite. So drag it, and then I feel some structure, start shaking it just a little bit. And you know, either dragging it or giving it a little shake or pop, whatever you wanna call it, is really effective. Now the other one, if I'm wanting to fish, you know, it's a little bit shallower water, I'm wanting to drag it a little bit quicker, I'm just gonna drag it straight up. Whenever I get my rod tip to the end of my drag, so to speak, you want to keep everything like probably like a 45 degree, because if you get your rod tip all the way up here and a fish bites it, you're gonna have to reel all the way down, and you know, that just gives the fish a lot more time to spit the jig. So kind of keep it everything from like a 45 degree, starting right here and dragging up. That's just really gonna make it more efficient and allow you to catch more fish and get a better hook set at least. But anyways, I'm gonna drag it up, reel, drag it up, reel up the slack, drag it up. And then, you know, you can give it a couple pops, like a Texas rig or something like that. So that's about it, guys. The jig is really universal, but it's also a very simple technique, and one that gets overlooked a lot by a lot of guys. So guys, for the 1/2 ounce setup, a good and sensitive rod is really important. So right now I've been throwing the Ducket Silhouette. This is a 7'2" heavy. Now keep in mind, the Ducket rods are a little bit lighter made than a lot of the other rod companies. So a heavy is gonna be like a medium heavy to a different rod company. But you know, really lightweight, balanced, sensitive rod. I'm absolutely digging the new Ducket lineups of rods, from the Jacob Wheeler Series 2.0 all the way to the Ghost 2 that they just came back out with. They're killing it over there at Ducket. But guys, medium to fast range reel. This is a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio. Lew's speed spool reel. I've got 15-pound Berkeley Trilene 100% fluoro. I think you'd be safe anywhere from that 15 to 20-pound fluorocarbon range. Make sure you're using fluorocarbon. I had a buddy, we were fishing a bridge, we had a tournament. I ended up getting 3 bites all day, and we weighed in 3 fish for 15 pounds. He ended up having more bites than me, but he didn't get any of them hooked because he was throwing mono. So what he was doing was really fishing this deep water, and he would set the hook, and there's so much stretch in that mono that he wasn't getting a good hook set, and he just wasn't catching those fish. So there's a little tip for you. Make sure to use fluorocarbon. But guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something. I truly believe that if you take these tips into effect and use them the next time you're out on the water fishing a jig, that you will start catching some fish, and you've got a very good chance to catch a fish of a lifetime. So guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. There he is. Feels like a pretty good one. If it's a bass. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Dude, are you freaking kidding me? I just boat flipped like a 6-pounder. Oh my gosh.